Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is a beautiful church parking lot, and this right here is a 2001 Chevrolet S10 in subpar condition that we're going to be transforming in today's video. So this truck definitely has some bumps and bruises, maybe more bumps and bruises than there is clean sheet metal on this thing. But it was cheap. It's hard to find an inexpensive 4x4 truck of any kind these days. And this one's got the 4.3 V6 with the single cab and 4x4. So it's kind of a rare combination. So I'd say it's worthy enough for a bit of a transformation day. Essentially, we're gonna modernize this thing a little bit, fix a lot of the imperfections, make it look like at least a decent driver. Essentially turn it from construction worker type build to teenager who just realized that they can spray paint parts on their car. As you can see, we've rated eBay and the junkyard for the finest quality products known to man to kind of bring this S10 up to date, make it look a little bit better. And at the end of all this, we got a fresh set of wheels and tires to replace these mismatched, bald, old work truck tires right here. Should be a nice looking little truck at the end of all this. First things first, we want to start with a clean slate here, so we're going to give this thing a nice wash. Well, if you take 10 steps back and turn around 3 times, it looks kind of good actually. It's got a little bit of shine to it, don't get too close. But it's a good, nice, clean starting point where we can get back on this thing tomorrow and actually start working on it. All right, here we are back at it again at day 2. Today we're gonna start by removing the whole kind of front grille assembly and the headlights here, get these replaced, get all this repainted, get ready to start fixing up this bumper. Alright, so we got this thing primed, all ready to go. Scuff this down so the paint should adhere pretty well. This prime is just about dry, so let's throw some black paint on it and see how it looks. Got a couple coats of paint on this thing. Let's give it some time to dry while we go work on the bumper. All right, so Jacob's wire brushing down all these rust spots right here. I'm gonna start by getting the Dremel out, grinding these holes down a bit, getting them flat so I can fill them. These are the biggest problem here. I think the previous owner had a light bar or something mounted here, and they're just really big raised spots that I'm gonna grind down and throw some body filler on them. That's not exactly the perfect way to do it, but it's what we're gonna do on this truck. It'll work. It won't be like a lifetime fix, but it'll last long enough for us. And then I gotta take care of this dent here too. This will probably also be a body filler job. Again, not how you're supposed to do it, but it'll do for our purposes. So don't ever pay anyone to do what I'm about to do here. This is not the proper method of filling holes in your vehicle. Just essentially don't really do this unless you're trying to get like kind of a simple quick repair that'll at least work for our purposes here. So just grabbing your standard Bondo body filler right here and just gonna take some of it, just kind of throw it on here just to cover up the holes. This is something you'd want to weld, do metal work to fill this. You don't really want to just rely on body filler. But for this situation, we'll be doing just fine. Here's another scenario that you really don't want to do. You don't really want to just fill a big dent in with Bondo, just for various reasons. It's something you'd want to pull out with a dent puller, but the metal on this bumper is pretty thick, and we're just gonna fill this thing up with some body filler, and it'll do what we need to do for now at least. We're just gonna slap a bunch of Bondo in this dent and then sculpt it to perfection later. Get a nice scoop of that on there. Got most of the building done with the Bondo here. Still a little bit soft, but that's when you want to kind of start getting the shaping done. And I'll tell you what, this is going to need a lot of shaping. All right, we're just about out of daylight here. Come back to this thing tomorrow, get it all finished up. The filler work we did yesterday is looking pretty good. This one's really smooth. This one's done. This one could use a little bit more sanding right here. And this one, because it's such a thick amount, definitely needs a little bit extra, but it actually filled it in pretty good. And once we give this thing a good sand, you'll never know it was there. Got this all masked off, obviously very professionally. Ready to spray some primer on here, get this bumper looking right. All right, well, the light is fading here, but we got everything primed. I'd say my repair is definitely on par with the quality of the rest of this bumper. No one's ever gonna really pick it out. In fact, there's still these dents right here. We're out of light once again, had a bit of a shorter day to work, but we'll be right back on this thing tomorrow and get this front end buttoned up. Back at it on our third day, believe it or not. Still looks just about the same, but let's get this front bumper finished up and then we can move on to some new things. Give this first coat a little time to dry. In the meantime, let's get to work on that front grille and installing the marker lights. All right, so we got these marker lights here. These are kind of an eBay special, but these are nice and clear. They got a dark lens, so it's gonna really clean up the look. And because it's a Chevy and it's assembled like a children's toy, it's just a couple little clips right here that just pop right into here. Pretty simple stuff. Where we're at with the front end. Paint's looking good. Time to throw the headlights back in, the grille. This thing's really gonna change its look. All right, what Jacob's got here is the front valence that this truck actually has never had. Since he's bought it, it did not come with this thing. And I pulled this thing off of a Blazer in the junkyard. It used to be this like ugly brown color, painted it black, and it looks pretty good. It's gonna match all this stuff, and I'm really excited to see how this covers up a bunch of the stuff on this truck. I think it's gonna be one of the big things that changes the front end of this thing. So just throwing some new trim tabs in here, popping these up, and it's nice to have these because it's not just throwing a zip tie in there. They're just these little guys right here. You can get these at any auto parts store. and that's what the factory uses to hold these in. Just doing a direct replacement, and it helps hold these in really nicely. All right, we got most of the front end dialed in here. Okay, where's this glass? And now it's time to finally start putting things back together. Got some new eyeballs for this thing. Once we get this thing all put back together, it's gonna look like a completely different truck. These are gonna make it look really nice. It's a bit of a struggle getting the headlights on. You can probably tell by the lack of light, but I think it's ready to do the grand reveal, pull off this masking, and see how the front's looking. All right, got the front end all buttoned up, and although we still have a long way to go, it's good to get a victory here, and I think you agree with me, Jacob. This thing is looking super good. Even Basha agrees down there. But yeah.
This turned out so much better than I thought it was gonna.
Yeah, it is looking super good, and that's giving us a lot of motivation to get the rest of this thing done, because we're only about halfway there, but big step forward getting this front looking good. It's a few days later. Truck is a little bit dirtier, but it's time to get back to work. It's gotten a lot colder outside, so we can't really do any paint work today. So we're gonna focus primarily on the bed here. What we got right here are the makings of a extremely cheap eBay brand bed cover. It looks to be pretty good quality for what it is though, so we're just gonna throw this thing on the truck. It should really clean up the look of this thing. So, as things tend to be when you buy the cheapest thing on eBay, the fitment is not perfect here. As you can see, these clamps are supposed to hold it on do not actually go far enough. You see there's a lot of play here. So what we're gonna do, we've got these little pieces of wood, and we're gonna just shove them in here, and then tighten this down, and that will eliminate any of the play. We're gonna just chop this up into 6 different little blocks and throw them under here. No one's ever gonna know that there's wood supporting this bed cover, but gotta do what you gotta do when you're working with cheap eBay parts. This is literally, we're not even gonna measure this, doesn't matter, no one's ever gonna see this. Just gonna chop it up into rectangular-ish slices. 6 spacers, complete. That's what it's looking like. No one's ever gonna know, but you gotta kind of improvise, adapt, and overcome when you're working with eBay parts. Okay, all around, that really cleaned up the truck's look, nice and sleek. And to be honest, for a $130 eBay bed cover, this thing's pretty nice. It looks good, got it all done in the end of the day. Got this little tailgate cover here to cover up some of those scratches. So all around, this thing's starting to look pretty good. Winter strikes again here in Washington. It was sunny for a couple days, but now it is not looking good, so we hijacked my grandparents' garage and we'll be using that for today. As you can see right now, we're gonna be getting some paint work done. We're highlighting all the spots that need work with blue tape, and that's really just gonna help you guys see what needs to be done on this truck. It's gonna help us visualize it as well. And when you look at the side here, you can really see that this truck is not, and probably never will be, perfectly clean example. Just look at all these blue circles. Every little blue spot symbolizes an area that needs paint work, some more than others. This truck will never be perfect. I don't think it's ever had any body work done to it ever in its life. So anything we do will be an improvement. We're just gonna essentially do some touch-up work, fix it as best we can, but this thing's never gonna be perfect. We're just gonna get it looking as best we can. Alright, so we're gonna start with this dent just by pounding it with a hammer. Just
seeing what we can get done from the inside. We're not really going for perfection right now. We just want to get some shaping.
This is essentially the limit to what I can do. Pulling the dent wise, as you can see, it's a lot smoother over here. Still a big divot over here. I just can't get to this because there's a rail that holds the bed on right there, and I just can't pound it out, and this metal's too thick for the pullers that I have right now. So we fixed it, I'd say 50% of the way, and the rest is just gonna be a sanding and Bondo job. So not perfect, but it'll get it done. Letting that first layer of Bondo cure, but doing some wet sanding, kind of cleaning up the scuffs here, seeing what we actually have to touch up and what is just a scuff in the paint. As you can see, a lot of wet sanding happening here on all these scuffs, just cleaning it all up. And as you can see, once we get a rag and wipe this down, the wet sanding is really showing us what's an actual scratch and what's just a scuff in the paint. And to be honest, once we get this buffed down, this is gonna look pretty good. Won't even need to repaint this. The real work is just gonna happen around here. Tedious, slow bodywork stuff, but you gotta do what you gotta do. The rain stopped. It's actually nice outside. Getting the heat gun here, using it to remove the old Chevrolet decal on the back. Fresh black Chevrolet decal right here to replace the old brownish gold one. As you can see, we've duct taped a straight piece of wood to the back, got it level, and now we're gonna throw the decal on. Back on it again. It's a beautiful sunny day. Perfect day to replace this junk old rear bumper. We picked up a replacement from the pick and pull for 50 bucks, and I threw a fresh coat of paint on it, just the same kind of stuff we've been doing, and it looks pretty darn good. It's gonna match our front, and it has no dents on it or anything. Definitely look a lot better than this crusty old one. Bumpers on trucks, especially the rear ones, are really easy to take on and off. Just a couple simple bolts holding them on, and these come right off. So it'll be a pretty much direct replacement. That right there kind of completes the rear end work we need to do on this truck. Still got a little bit of work to do here. Got to do some more sanding and paint work along the body, but we've come a long way. After many hours of sanding and filling, This dent is as far as I need to get it today. We are going to throw some primer on this. This is high fill sandable primer. And Bondo is kind of known to just like suck up paint as you put it on it. So a good prime layer is always nice to keep the Bondo from sucking up all your paint and requiring a ton of coats. So we got this sanded, primed, it's all ready. And what we're gonna do, we've got this base coat right here, same stuff we've been using. And I've expanded the area that I've masked off quite a bit, because what you wanna be able to do with this is kind of feather the paint in so you can wet sand it and blend it so it looks perfect. Well, let's not say perfect. Nothing we're doing here is gonna be perfect. We're just gonna do our best with this truck, and hopefully it'll end up looking half all right, you know? Got the painting work done here. Gonna do a little bit of wet sanding, but as you can see, it's a little bit lumpy. We weren't able to get it perfect, but it's pretty darn good, especially compared to what it was before, and we'll definitely take that. So as you can see, the paint's a little bit foggy compared to, say, this right here that's clear coated, to just the raw paint. So I'm gonna wet sand it down a little bit, then get some clear coat on there, wet sand that, and then we can finally buff it, and these two will look close enough. So the kit we got on eBay is a base coat and clear coat, so it's got a clear coat that's specially matched with the paint, and so that makes this whole process really nice and easy. I wet sanded down all the orange peel, so we're ready to throw a clear coat on it, and it should look pretty good. All right, we got it looking pretty darn good, and after all that, I think it's time to get a fresh set of wheels and tires on this thing. Although these mismatched Steelies have served this truck well for probably its entire life, it's time to switch it out and give it a new look. And here we are. After probably too long working on this thing, because we only had afternoons and like weekends to work on this, very limited time schedule, so we had to put in quite a few days on this thing. We got this truck finished up. So I know that the wheel choice is going to be the biggest controversy for most people. Not everyone's gonna like this offset, and it just, you know, it is what it is. It's definitely not gonna be a permanent look on this thing, but you know, it's some nice black wheels that kind of go with the truck. Whether you like the choices we made with the wheels or not, I think we can all agree that this truck has come an extremely long way from the beat up old work truck that it started as. And well, it's not perfect, and some of the body work that's been done here is definitely not showroom quality. It was a great learning experience for both of us to learn how to do these kind of things on a truck that was kind of low consequence because, you know, it was already not in perfect condition. At the end of the day, I'm extremely happy with how this truck turned out, and it's been a great experience working on this truck and learning new things along the way. I appreciate all you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.